Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on Saturday, September 11, 2021, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. 5 plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 270 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting advice that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks and advice. Appalachian State vs Miami, Florida. Appalachian State scored 33 points in their last game. They threw for 259 yards and rushed for 226 yards in the win. Bryce was listed as the Sun Belt Newcomer of the Year by Lindy's after transferring to Appalachian State during the offseason. He got off to a strong start in Week 1, completing 20 of 27 pass attempts for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also threw 1 interception. Chase Bryce completed 74.1% of his passes for 259 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Nate Noel leads the team with 129 rushing yards, while Thomas Hennigan leads the team with 114 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. King finished 23 of 30 for just 173 yards through the air. His 3 turnovers were a combination of 2 interceptions and a lost fumble. Safety Bubba Bolden was ejected for targeting in the first quarter after a helmet-to-helmet blow on Brian Robinson Jr. If Miami takes any positives away from that game, it was King's ability to connect on passes over the middle. He also looked healthy following his knee injury. The Miami defense recorded 10 tackles for loss and did not allow Alabama's rushing attack to get going. Appalachian State played well defensively in their first game, giving up 19 points. They will need a similar effort if they want to win this game. My first betting advice is to pick Appalachian State plus 8.5. The Hurricanes struggled in their first game of the season, and they were blown out by the defending national champions. They will try to bounce back from the loss with a win over the Mountaineers, which will give them their first win of the year. Appalachian State was listed as a 9-point favorite, and it scored 20 consecutive points following an early East Carolina touchdown. The Mountaineers took a 33-9 lead early in the fourth quarter before allowing 10 late points. They are led by senior quarterback Chase Bryce, who spent 3 seasons with Clemson before starting 11 games for Duke last year. My second betting advice is to pick under 54. Texas State vs Florida International. Texas State scored 20 points in their first game. They threw for 156 yards and rushed for 79 yards in the game. Senior quarterback Max Bortenschlager, a former Maryland quarterback, completed 14 of 17 pass attempts for 266 yards. He threw 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Senior running back Von Price was as efficient as you can get in the rushing attack. He carried the ball 5 times for 165 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brady McBride completed 50% of his passes for 156 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Jamal Jeter led the team with 55 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, while Marcel Barbie led the team with 56 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Price averaged nearly 7 yards per carry last season and is off to an even better start this year. Junior wide receiver Bryce Singleton led the wideouts with 6 catches for 149 yards and a score. He led the team in receiving last year as well. Texas State didn't play well defensively, giving up 29 points in their loss. They will need to do a better job, especially against the run if they want to win this game. My first betting advice is to pick Florida International -1. Max Bortenschlager completed 82.4% of his passes for 266 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Von Price led the team with 165 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, while Bryce Singleton led the team with 149 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. The Bobcats were unable to take advantage in a 29-20 loss to Baylor. They did hold a brief 10-7 lead in the second quarter, but Baylor pulled away with a 23 run. If the Week 1 game is any indication, Texas State is going to air the ball out this season. My second betting advice is to pick over 55. Quick reminder, you can get 125% cashback bonus on your first deposit on our partner sportsbook BetUS after you open an account using our link down below and use our promo code HIGHSTAKES when making your deposit. Missouri vs. Kentucky. Missouri gave up 24 points in its opening win over Central Michigan, but the Tigers allowed the Chippewas to gain 475 yards of total offense with 174 yards on the ground and 301 yards through the air. Missouri linebacker Blaze Aldridge has a team-high 10 tackles and 3.5 quarterback sacks, while defensive back Jalen Carles has 1 interception. Will Levis completed 18 of 26 passes for 367 yards with 4 touchdowns and 1 interception in the victory. Bo Allen was 4 of 7 for 52 yards. In the run game, Chris Rodriguez Jr. led the team with 19 carries for 125 yards and a score. Kavosi Smoke, 5 carries, 26 yards, and Michael Drennan 3 carries, 16 yards, TD, each saw a little run in the game as well. Josh Ali, 136 yards, TD, and Wan'Dale Robinson, 125 yards, 2 TD, each hauled in 5 passes to share the team lead in the game. Isaiah Epps, 3 catches, 83 yards, and Rodriguez Jr., 2 grabs, 10 yards, were the only other players with multiple receptions in the game. Kentucky's defense stifled Ul Monroe on the ground, limiting them to 17 yards on 43 carries, a meager 0.4 yards per carry. Matt Ruffolo hit all 6 extra point attempts and his lone field goal try, which came from 45 yards, in the contest. My first betting advice is to pick Kentucky Wildcats -5. Kentucky is 26th in overall defense after allowing 10 points and just 88 yards of total offense to Louisiana Monroe's, including 18 yards rushing and 70 yards passing. On defense, Josh Paschal is the leading tackler with 7. Linebacker J.J. Weaver is the leader in quarterback sacks with 2, and as a team Kentucky has 6 sacks after 1 game. Defensive back Yusuf Corker is the leader in interceptions with 2. The Tigers now go on the road and look to put a conference victory on the books in this one. Against Central Michigan, Missouri trailed 14-7 late in the second quarter before scoring 10 points in the final 2:25 of the half to take a 17-14 lead at intermission. My second betting advice is to pick under. Georgia State vs. North Carolina. The Georgia State Panthers struggled throughout their season opening game against the Army Black Knights last week. They gave up 43 total points and struggled to get their defense off of the field as Army went 10 for 16 on 3rd down while going 3 for 3 on 4th down. The Panthers were not able to stop the rushing attack as they allowed 258 rushing yards on 67 attempts, 3.9 rushing yards per carry. If the Georgia State Panthers can figure out how to be a better defense, they can be in a great spot. The Tar Heels have now failed to cover in 5 of their last 6 games, including a 41-27 loss in the Orange Bowl to the Texas A&M Aggies, and have now lost 3 games outright as a favorite since the start of 2020. My first betting advice is to pick North Carolina -26. My second betting advice is to pick under 66. Good luck to all of you. That's it for this video. Stay tuned and stay safe for the next betting tips and advice.